Shalom, and welcome to Shmu's Views, Torah Observant Judaism. I'm Shmuel ben Shlomi, your host. Today we're going to continue our six-part series on Journey of the Spirit. The title of this particular lesson is Young Souls, Old Souls. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage you to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and the thumbs up button. Hit that like button if you could. We will be continuing next time also with the final part of this series, part 6, which is a very important one, so be sure you hang around for that. It's called the function of the Spirit, which is what we are, Spirit, as we have talked about earlier in the earlier lessons. Now, when it comes to the terms young soul and old soul, I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever been called a young soul or an old soul? I have heard that term used in reference to other people. I've also heard it used in reference to myself over the years. What makes the use of it so striking is when the term young soul is used to describe a person that is physically and chronologically speaking older in years, or vice versa, when a small child is referred to as an old soul. What does young soul or old soul actually mean? After all, it has already been stressed that we, spirit, which is what we are, is ageless. And if it is true that the living soul is a product resulting from the union of spirit and the physical body, then it isn't every soul really a new soul? The answer is yes. Every soul is a new soul, yet the terms young soul and old soul are appropriate. If every living soul, with its attributes of will, reason, and emotion, is new, when an ageless, timeless spirit takes on the newly formed physical body, then why is it appropriate to call a person a young or old soul? Because they are simply terms that describe the spirit's experience as a living soul. All spirits are eternal. A spirit has no beginning or end, for it is the very breath of Adonai. Therefore, we are outside of time in terms of age. However, not every spirit has chosen to incarnate, and some have had very limited human incarnation experiences. A spirit that has been in clay on numerous occasions has downloaded, if you will, far more human experience than one who has none or few human incarnations. Does this mean that the spirit with no or few incarnations is somehow lacking? Of course not. Every spirit is bathed in light with a capital L and is complete, lacking in nothing. But on this side of eternity, within the framework of the space-time continuum, it can make a significant difference. Remember, the term old soul and young soul is meaningless in the eternal now beyond the veil. That heavenly realm, or the other side, whichever term suits you best. These two descriptions only have meaning here in space and time. Here is how it can be significant. When an ageless spirit incarnates for the first time or has had but few incarnations, there is the constant danger of spirit losing the perception of its true identity while housed in a body. This can also be a tripwire for those with many incarnations under their proverbial belts, but it is more likely to occur with lesser experienced spirits, those with fewer incarnations. Now, how can an ageless, completed spirit possibly lose itself? Well, while in the human body, it is surprisingly easy. It begins to honestly believe that it is its own intellect and its intelligence. It begins to think that the emotions it's feeling is its true self. The spirit totally identifies itself to its human rationality and feelings. If it stoops low enough, as some have, its identity is totally attached to the body, the physical body. This type cannot picture itself far beyond its own 5 physical senses of the natural body, and for this misguided individual, the fear of death is a constant devastation. The spirit who has its senses of self invested in its rational human mind or emotions is under the delusion that if it cannot think or feel, then it can no longer exist, and all life has lost its meaning and purpose. I think the popular vernacular today is the quality of their life has been lost. That is why mental illness and such deteriorating and devastating diseases such as Alzheimer's are so feared. If I believe that I am because I think and feel, then my identity of self is so tied to the intellect and my emotions that if they cannot function normally, then I am as good as dead already. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. We have eternal, intrinsic worth regardless of our mental, emotional, or physical state, because we are not any of these things. The servants, the body and soul, have become masters of the house, if that becomes the case. This again is backward thinking. The master of the house is ourselves, our spirit. Our 5 physical senses of the physical body and our soul's attributes of reason, thoughts, and emotions are servants, tools to be used to aid the spirit in its task to accomplish its purposes for being here in the first place. If spirit relinquishes its place of mastery and leadership, soul and body will be more than happy to step in, which leads to behavior and actions that mark that person as a young soul. Whenever spirit takes the reins, which generally requires the experience of more than 1 or 2 physical incarnations, the behavior, actions, and wisdom found in the eyes of that human give it away as an old soul, regardless of the person's chronological, physical age. Now, all of this concerning the function of the soul and the body that we just stated must come with a disclaimer as well. These separations are easily discussed in this type of format, but are not easily so readily noticeable by the individual in his busy, hustle-bustle, day-to-day, computerized 21st century world. For any of this to become realizable and clear, a little of our day must be set aside for some quiet time for study of Torah, prayer, and communion with Hashem, doing mitzvot, and spending time with fellow Jews, especially Tzaddik. This cannot be stressed enough. If we cannot make time for study, prayer, and fellowship, then self will remain buried under the mundane. We must learn and listen to the words of wisdom found in the Torah, the Tanakh, and in the teachings of our sages of blessed memory. So we can separate what is the us from all the noise and clamoring of the intellect and emotions, as well as the cravings of the physical body. Begin to depersonalize without relinquishing personal responsibility. Next week, we will jump into the final lesson in this series on Journey of the Spirit, and we'll be looking at the functions of ourselves, the actual functions of us, spirit. And because we've talked about the physical body and its 5 senses, we've talked about the soul and its 3 main functions of reason, will, the ability to choose, and our emotions, our feelings. But the spirit also, we have attributes and functions as well. And we'll be looking at that next time. Until then, again, hit that subscribe button. Let your friends know about our website. Maybe they can benefit from these as well. Feel free to put comments below here to this video and all of our other videos. And also, please visit our website, Shmu's Views Toward Observant Judaism. The link for that website will be in the description of this video below. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you again. Until then, Shalom.